Mikey Colella, how you doing, my friend?
What's up, Key?
Bro, you only had me waiting like 2 hours, but it's okay. This is the D1 schedule. I'm on your time. It's Mikey's world. We're just we're just living in it. It's just the
Yeah,
way it
it's not
is.
my fault. It's only 8 o'clock here. Hour time change, not bad.
Yeah, bro. Where you what's going on? Where are you at right now? What's
We're at
happening?
Eau Claire, Wisconsin. We normally stop halfway. We're going to play Minnesota State Mankato in the quarterfinals of the playoffs right now. So we normally travel today, halfway, and then we'll get up, drive the rest of the way tomorrow, practice, and then get ready for the weekend.
Nice. Are you partying with Dre over there?
Dre's actually downstairs with the guys right now, so I got the whole room to
Uh,
myself.
gotcha. Good man. Good man. All right. Yeah, Mikey. Well, listen, bro. Let's get into it. Let's get into all the fun stuff. You've been a TAite for a long time.
Long time.
But before you were a TAite and you and I had the all the fun that we've had over these, dude, I was thinking about it. So when I went to see you a couple weekends ago, um, it was crazy thinking about, dude, like 2017. Like we're like you're old now. Like forget I'm young. I'm just a young guy. But like you're old, bro. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm 20. I'm 24 now. Come on.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. But no, bro, but before I met you, it's funny, I've heard the story for, the Mikey Colella story so many times from others. But Mikey, I didn't get the full thing from you.
Nah.
Do you want to share? Do you want to share your story, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, my dad was a big men's league guy. Would play Wednesday night roller hockey, men's league a lot. So I think when I was probably growing up, he would always bring me to his men's league games, and I would always want to go because he bought me a pair of skates and just kind of run around the rink. Never really wanted to take him off even after his game was over, and he'd always have a hard time leaving me at such a young age. And I played it was roller hockey at the time, so I really started roller before ice at 3. So I loved it at the time, and I was just skating around the rink constantly at 3 years old. And they wanted to get me into lessons and stuff. And then my mom and dad decided to take me over to Hollydale, and skate with Guy Gaudreau for a bit, and kind of get my ice game going a bit and see if I like it, if I didn't like it. And you know me, I loved it. They always had, Guy always yell at me and stuff, and I always thought he was being a little mean at times, but I was just young, so young at the time, and just, it made me cry sometimes and would tell me I was skating like a girl, and I would cry and stuff like that. But like those were the fun memories that I could look back on and be like when I'm that young and just laugh about now, because you're that young, you don't really understand much and why he's doing certain things and why he's skating you so much. And but now, like looking back on it, I don't think that if I didn't have that start, then I probably wouldn't have developed my love for the game and how I am able to wake up every morning and be excited to go to the rink still today, right now. Um, and we actually had a little meeting in the locker room today before we left for playoffs, and we kind of do like a little something every year. So we have a ball of yarn, and each player says their why. So why could be, why they play hockey, like why they do this, why, like what's your why? And I just said my family, because my parents have sacrificed so much for me, with my mom basically stopping her whole life just to drive me around everywhere, and my dad not being able to see me much and play a lot. And, a lot of nights where my dad wouldn't come home late, and get up early, and I wouldn't really see him because he'd get up early before I go to school. And then by the time I was sleeping, he would be coming home from work. So, my why was kind of just for the love of the game, but also for my parents and everything that they've done for me, and all the support that they've shown me throughout the years and to where I am today. Like it's still my why every day. Like, we'd always talk about playing NHL and playing Division 1 and getting to the stages. And I just want to keep excelling, and you're helping me do that later in my career than I wished I liked. But kind of starting out, it was I went to Flyers youth for a bit. Started growing up there playing. I was still playing roller hockey. I still play to this day. I love it. Still playing the summers, and it's
Who's
the
your coach at
most.
Flyers Youth?
What's up?
Your coach Flyers Youth.
So I had a few. Tropea was a big one. He talked to me the other day when my mom and dad were with us in Philly. my mom texts me, I'm coming out of the shower before I'm leaving to go to the rink, and she's like, "You answer your phone and FaceTime call." So I'm getting a call, and I'm like, who could she possibly be with? And it's Mario. He's like, "Yo, who's still your favorite coach on the phone?" And I'm like, "It's still you, man." But yeah, I played for Centrella a bit starting out with Mario. Um, and then when Primo came in for a
That
bit,
must have been a great bench. That
yeah,
must have been a great
yeah,
bench.
I wouldn't stop here and shoot the puck or skate and all this stuff. And but then Keith came in and Keith did a really good job, and we had some young guys. And then once Keith decided to leave Flyers Youth, that's when I made the move over with him to go to Comcast. And they didn't have anything above under 98. So I was going as a 99, and he told a handful of us, like, hey, come over, try out, see what happens. But it's 98, so you're playing up a year. So
Right.
I
And
ended
you're
up
talking
going
about or you're talking about Comcast, right?
Comcast at the time, yeah, because they were only 98 and above at the time. There was no young teams or anything like that. It was just the 98s, 97s, and then you had the 96s, 95s, and so on.
What you just
Um,
so and what year is that? Or
I think it might have been it might have been right before Pee Wee or Pee Wee, because I think the following year after my first year was hitting. So it might have been Pee Wee minor, because that's when they had the whole minor major thing. So it might have been
right.
Pee Wee minor, because then Pee Wee major was hitting. And I'll touch on that after. But so I went over, a bunch of guys went over, tried out, and only three 99s made the team. It was me, Carson Briere, and Caden Primo. So we played 98 the whole year. Um, then the year after, that's when Hatcher came in and did the 99 team. And then they had the 2000 team with Kyle, Max, some of those guys and stuff. And so they ended up doing that. And I was like, no, I'm staying with the 98s. Like, I want to be with my friends. Like, I want to be with the guys that I grew up playing with and stuff. And took a really bad hit because it was the first year of hitting. And, I was playing with a guys a year older than me, so it was a little tough physically because I wasn't even close to matured at the time. Like, I was still young, like I was still not weighing a lot. I was tiny. I could play with them, but the physical aspect wouldn't be there. So
Yeah.
I got hit really bad. Got a concussion in tryouts. Keith pulled me aside and goes, Hatcher is doing a 99 team, and he wants you to go down there and play with him. So Carson and I went down and played with Hatcher in the 99 team. And it was awesome. Like, I loved every second of it with some of the guys like me, Carson, Matty Cass, us three, and, some other guys on the team. We have fun, and we play together for the next, I want to say, about 4 years we probably had together. And then to the point I was going into my sophomore or my freshman year of high school. I still wasn't physically matured. Physically, I was not there. Weight was not there. My strength was not even close to where I wanted it to be. And I was working out at Endeavor at the time. That was when Beach had it. And I was working out there and stuff, and it was really good. Like, I loved being there with all the guys like the Robinsons and Gaudreau and some of those guys and stuff, and watching them, play in their 18U year and the junior career and then their college careers, which was really good to be that young and be around guys like that at such a young age. And then my freshman year of high school, kind of where I took a decline because I just wasn't physically there yet. Like, I was still really tiny. I was probably like little over 100 pounds. Like, still wasn't to the point where I could be like, okay, like, I'm physically ready for this. So I went and played double A at Hollydale for a year. Had a good year. It was fun. Like, wasn't as competitive as AAA or some of the games you would play, but it was still, pretty fun. It was good. So I did that, and then the year after, everyone's like, "What are you gonna do? You're gonna go back to AAA?" Like, there's a lot of teams, AA teams that wanted me, and I was like, I found out that a bunch of my buddies, like Carson, was leaving Comcast at the time to go to the Jags at the Igloo to play for Glick. I didn't really know much about it because I didn't, I only played for two teams my entire life growing up. So for me to play for a different team one year and then go to a completely different team next year was a little tough, and I didn't know what was going to happen or what I wanted to do. So I ended up going to Igloo. They were like, "We're gonna have a really good team. I want you to come play here, see what happens." And then we played that year. Carson and I had a lot of fun, put up a lot of points, went all the way to nationals, should have won it all, but things don't pan out. And then the year after, that was when I was like, okay, kind of gave myself the ultimatum of this is the year, like this is it. Like, and I've always had a good relationship with Halsey, with Jeremy Hall and stuff. And I always told him when I was young at Comcast and he was coaching the Richie Brusco and Barry and all those guys, I was like, listen, like I'm gonna play for you someday. I don't know when, but I will come back and I will play for you. And he said, okay, can't wait for that day. So after my year at the Igloo, everyone was calling me and asking me because the AA tryouts were a week before the AAA tryouts. And my mom was, kind of on the fence about what I wanted to do. Um, and it was just kind of just floating through and see what kind of options were there and stuff. And I kind of made the choice. I'm like, I don't care what is going to happen. I'm going back and I'm going to try out and go home because my dad had the snack bar. That place was home for 4 or 5 years for me. And that place, started me out with Coach Keith and everything like that and Hatch. And, I wanted to go back. That was my home and I wanted to play in front of my dad and I wanted to play AAA again, just so I can achieve what I wanted to achieve in the end. So I ended up going back. I had a good tryout. The last night before tryouts, Halsey will tell you the story, pulled me aside with two other kids and was like, listen, there's, maybe 1, 2 spots left. You guys have been good. But if you really want to make this team, show me tonight. So I remember in the scrimmage, I mean, guys that were already picked for the team, weren't playing a lot in the scrimmage, and Halsey was sending me a lot to see how hard he can push me and he could go. And I excelled. I thought I was the best player out of anybody that already made the team on the ice. And I thought I deserved to be there again. So I go upstairs and I told my dad before the night, I was like, listen, if my name's on that sheet, I'm signing the contract. Like, we're not debating this. This is not a debate. I'm doing this. So I go upstairs and my name's the last name on the sheet. And I knew right then and there. I walked into that meeting. I said, give me the sheet, signed it. It was done. My dad said, you really want to do this? I said, absolutely. Like, I am all in 100%. That is it. So my junior year, that's my junior year of high school. Go back to Comcast. First few games weren't, I still maybe wasn't there physically, but I knew I was there mentally and I knew I was there, game wise and I could play again. So I, had a few started out slow, like Halsey played me a bit, not much, but by the end of the year, I mean, it was the best year of hockey I probably played. And going back to AA and having the ability to grow my just confidence alone because everyone's kind of just telling me you're too small, you'll never get big enough, you'll never weigh a certain amount, you'll never please people in certain ways that they want to be pleased because back then it was kind of big. Like, I mean, when I was playing on my Comcast team, you had guys like Drew Carpenter that were already 6'2". You had Evan was huge, Kelton Hatcher was huge, you had Matty Cass was already fully developed, and I wasn't close to it, which I understood and I was fine with it. So for me to go back and take those 2 years and build my confidence and be able to build my game a little bit better and better each day, that kind of helped me. So then I played for Halsey that year. We did really well. I think ended up the year was me, Kyle, and Zach Egber were a line, and we were really good together. We played well together. Was pretty much healthy throughout the whole year. Just had one minor little concussion, but missed like 2 days because some symptoms were fine, and I was good to go. And we had a really good run, and I think I was, Halsey will tell you, I was probably the most surprised of the team for me to be there and how I finished off the year. And then I stuck and just kept getting better every year. And I played for Halsey again my first year U18s with like Dante, Kyle Weller, Stefano, and those guys and stuff. And it was really good again. Like, I was happy to be back where I was. And then now the year after coming back for my second year U18s because a lot of guys went to junior. And I was still the young guy on the team because it was U18. So I was 17. It was my first year. And I'm like, no, I'm going to come back, play with, Tropea, Fioli, Peters, PJ. Like, I wanted to play with my boys. Like, the guys at the 2000s had a really good 16U team coming up and they wanted to play 18. And like Dom, we picked up Martino, Straczynski, like we had Cavan come in, like, Isaac,
That was a fun team.
we had the guys, we had Max, we had Donnie, like we had Greenbean, we had Jake, like we had the guys that, I was always around the rink with, and we had a good, really tight bond and stuff. And it was a fun year. Like, I mean, that year was I remember I threw us a Halloween party. After we played the Titans up in a game, I threw us a Halloween party and we had a ball. Like as a team, like I don't think there was any more of a way it could have ended as my last year of travel before I had to move on to juniors because it was my age out year. So I did that. Then I ended up going to I was skating with a few NOL teams at the time. Wasn't really, they didn't know if I was going to sign or they wanted me to go to camp. And I got a call one day from a guy from the Islanders and the NCDC because Mario was playing over there. So he had some guys like, hey, we want to get this kid. Let's get it done. So they called me, told me what the plan was, whatever, what they wanted to do with me. And, I kind of was like, yeah, sure. Like it's a new league. It's free to play. It's like, you're playing in the NOL or something, but it's just all East Coast. And I thought it'd be great. And I went there and within 3.5 weeks, I got called up to the USHL and um, go there, score the overtime winner my first game. Was, over the moon, and then it didn't really go so well after that. Kind of just got a little complacent and ahead of myself and thought like, okay, like I deserve that moment, but now I just things weren't going my way. So I ended up getting sent back down to New York. Was there for a weekend, put up a decent good weekend and got a call. I was going back to the USHL for a different team. So I go to Tri-City and play there, and they were really good. Like they were number one in the league the whole year when I got there. Played really well, was playing decent amount of minutes. Power play, wasn't playing penalty kill, but everyone back in the day knows I wasn't really the best defensive player because everyone thought I always cheated the game when it was just all anticipation and I could just break down a play. Like it was just, a lot of people would say, oh, he's a cherry picker and stuff like that. But in the end of the day, if you're really a cherry picker, then it'll show and you won't have anything to do for it and nobody would want you. But in the end of the day, like my game was all around solid and stuff. And so I go there. I get traded at the deadline to Lincoln for an NHL player at the time. Now he is. And go there, had a really good end of the year for my first year of juniors, and everyone was calling me and asking me, they're like, do you ever think you just got traded 3 times in a year? Like, do you think it's time to give up on the dream? Like, do you just ever say you want to go home and you want to be done with it and go to college at home and just play for somebody at home? And I'm like, absolutely not. Like that was never even a thought of my question. I was like, okay, new journey, new opportunity. When am I going? What am I going to be doing? Like I'm going and I'm playing and that's it. So I come home. I go back to Lincoln's camp, kind of discuss some things of, how they wanted the team to be. I'm not the biggest guy and I'm not going to fight. It's going to have to be a rare occasion for me to fight or a good spot. So I ended up leaving camp, without a junior team. And I had some teams call me the past week. And then I got a call from my Islanders coach and said, hey, I got a buddy that wants you to go play in the BCHL for him. I was like, okay, text, like, have him call me. So we talked. He wanted me to be an import. I said, absolutely. He's like, you're going to play with a number one overall pick next year. Kid's exceptional. Feel like you would compliment him well. I said, where do I sign? Done. I went and I had the best year of hockey, fun wise and community wise of my life. Like there was nothing like it. The community was a bunch of Italians, so I fit right in right away and had a great year. Was third in the league in scoring. Behind Kent and Kent's playing for the Blue Jackets now and he's doing really well for himself and I'm happy for him. And it was just great to see at such an old age for me because my age out year, I'm learning from a rookie, a 17-year-old rookie turning 18 in the middle of the year, who's leading the league in points, who's going to be a top 5 draft pick, and is just exceptional on and off the ice. And I get to learn from him at 20 years old, and he's 17. And so at the time, I was still committed to Colorado College. Committed there my first year in the USHL, and then decommitted right before playoffs. My second year in the BCHL. COVID shut the year down, so I was trying to play for another scholarship before playoffs and show playoffs that for certain teams that wanted to watch me, and COVID shut it down. So I was like, okay, like shit, I'm going home without a college scholarship anymore. I'm not committed anymore. I don't have anything right now set in stone. And I'm going home and I need to go in somewhere next year. Like I have to. Like I can't go back to junior. I need to go in somewhere. And I told myself, I'm like, listen, I did not do all this stuff to just throw it all away and just be like, okay, I'm done with my career now and I just want to go play club hockey somewhere. It just was never a thought in my mind. So I get a call from Minnesota area code and I missed the first one because he called me in the morning, my coach at the time, and I slept through it because I was, getting back from the 3 hour time difference from trail, and I get the same Minnesota area code call at dinner. And I'm thinking this can't be a coincidence. Like I thought the first one was spam. So I answer it and he's like, hey, this is Grandpa Tony from Northern Michigan. How are you? Got your number from my coach. So I guess later after I found out, he called about my goalie in trail, our 17-year-old stud goalie he called. And my coach goes, well, do you need another forward for next year? And he's like, well, who is he? Because they kind of already have classes are already, freshman classes are already ready to come in. They already have their guys. They already have a game plan of what they want. And, for me, it was kind of like, do I have a shot? And he's like, yeah, the kid's third in the league in scoring. Great offensive mind, can, play the game really well. Sent him some tape and they gave me the call. And within 3 days, we were on a Zoom call because they couldn't do during COVID, they couldn't have any official meetings. So they kind of do everything over Zoom. And 3 days later, it was a done deal. I was going to Northern on a full ride. My parents didn't have to pay for anything, which was a big thing for me because everything that they've done and everything they sacrificed, I didn't want them worrying about anything. I didn't want them worrying about student loans or anything like that. And I wanted school to be paid for. And that's the whole thing, why I wanted to play Division 1 because I wanted to have my parents stress free and I wanted them to enjoy coming to watch me play. And then yeah, and now freshman year, fast forward, and now I'm a senior, and it's kind of all unraveling. And now I have an option if I come back next year, but we haven't discussed anything, so we'll kind of go from there after the year's over. But now we're just focusing on playoffs, and my season's ended every freshman, sophomore, junior year. My season has always ended in Mankato, and it's not going to happen this year. We've lost in the finals my freshman year, semifinals in my sophomore year, and then we lost last year in the championship in Mankato my junior year. So that's where we're at right now.
I'm holding you to that, bro. If any bad news this weekend, next time I see you, there's gonna be assault bikes in your future,
I
my friend.
know, yeah. You might as well put me on the bus for losing to Mankato 4 years straight.
That's right. That's not happening. Well, yo, Mikey. I mean, listen, man. I love, you know, you did a very nice job of condensing that story. That's a lot of years.
Yo,
Um,
yeah.
some of the stuff I'd like to kind of touch on because, um, so your transition, because I think one of the things that happens is, um, guys, um, you're comfortable at one level and you're doing really well, and now all of a sudden you're at a different level. So like for you, within 6 months, you played AAA hockey, then you played NCDC hockey, and then you played USHL hockey in three different, with basically within 6 months, right?
Yeah.
So how
Yeah.
was because here's the thing, when you were a couple things that you kind of jumped over a little bit. How many points did you have in that first month of NCDC? What was it, like 2 points? You were like 2 to 3 points a game. What was it?
Yeah,
A
I
point
was
and a half.
averaging like 2.8 a game. I think I had like 17 in the first eight, and then I finished with 21 and 10. Like I had 10 points in the which really helped me is when we went to Boston for the showcase. After which was I think it might have been the opening weekend. I'm not sure if it was or wasn't, but yeah, I had 10 points in 3 games. And then it kind
Yeah, it's
of
funny, man.
shot up and
That's the thing, man. I'm going to jump back to the original question there, but I just think it's interesting because so many guys they're so worried about like the label of where you're playing. And I remember you that summer because the first summer that you and I met before you went to the NCDC,
yeah.
and I remember like, dude, you like your mindset was just I'm just gonna do my thing, and I think so many guys worry about what league they're playing in without worrying about get the minutes that you need, have the support from the coaching staff that you need so that you can dominate. And I think that's one of the biggest parts that's missed. But you can jump and you can talk about that a
Yeah,
little
I
bit.
mean, I think it's also more of where you're gonna fit best and where you're gonna have the best opportunity. Like I knew that if I went to some team in the NAL, I probably would be a little bit undervalued and probably not given a decent look with some of the guys going to a new team and stuff, and they have old guys coming in. But I think for me, it was kind of finding the relationship between coach and player. Like, I mean, I went to New York. Um, and I mean, he was a head coach, but he was such an amazing guy that kind of believed, knew what I could do from playing against PAL the past 3 years in AAA, watched me for the past 3 years, over the course of those 3 seasons, we played against them about 6 times a year because we would always meet them up in Boston. We'd always go to New York for a weekend and play them, um, and stuff. And I thought it was really good because I ended up forming a connection with the goalie because we played him so much. So we would chit chatter and stuff. And when he found out I signed with his team because he was going to be the goalie for the NCDC team. He's like, "Hey, you want to come live with me?" And I said, "Absolutely." Like, yeah, like we kind of had the bond of playing against each other and didn't really like talk or anything outside of the rink. But when we were on the rink, we felt like we knew each other for a while. And I go and, live with them. And they were an unbelievable family for my first, time moving away and stuff, to kind of just get adjoined to everything. The whole family was welcoming, and they were awesome. Like, it was an amazing experience. And moving away from home, like, with getting traded so many times in that one span of the year, of going from the NCDC back up to the USHL, back to the NCDC, and then back up to the USHL and staying there, I thought, I thought I needed that to kind of mature a bit and be like, okay, can handle this myself. Is it going to suck a bit, the traveling? Yes. Is packing, going to unpacking, whatever, trying to get settled in, new team and stuff. But I always thought about it as, listen, it's a new opportunity, it's a new journey. It's things that could help me, it could hurt me, but we're gonna see what happens and how it plays out. And I mean, I wasn't scared. And a lot of people can be like, I never even thought I was gonna play in the USHL that year. Like, I didn't think I was gonna get past the USHL my second year. I thought it was gonna be a long shot because they have, their picks that are gonna go to the NHL. Like, they have the young kids that are gonna go in and play that are already committed to the top schools. And I was still uncommitted. Like, I talked to maybe one college at the time. And then after that first weekend in the NCDC, when I had the 10-point weekend, I mean, there was just coaches lined up out of the locker room to talk to me. And I know, my coach was talking to a bunch, and some Division 3 guys showed up and was like, listen, we know that, you're probably not going to come to our school, and you're probably going to get a Division 1 offer, and we hope everything works out. Just if you ever, in case, decide that it's not what you want, and come play. But they were never like, oh, we don't think you can still play in the Division 1 level. Most of them probably knew that I was going to get an offer or something, or if I kept, depending on how I kept playing, and, I kept playing really well. And I kind of get it offers. And then within the first month of the USHL, I was on my first official visit to Colorado College, and it was done about a week and a half later. I committed on Halloween Day. And um, I mean, but again, you never think you're gonna play in the USHL because we always thought it was a long shot. Like, I never went to any camps, never went to any entry draft camps, never went to any null camps, never went to any junior camps. It was kind of just where I felt like I wanted to be. It was going to be a free to play league, to be a good league right in Boston, and I felt like it was going to be the best fit for me. I was going to play against the Boston Junior Bruins, which are a really great organization, first of all, in the heart of Boston. There's a lot of schools around there first too. Like, you have all the main schools in Boston, but most of the Hockey East is all right there. So if you're going to play those schools, if you're going to play against those teams in the East Coast, you're going to have certain schools around. And it's going to be easier for them to come watch you. So if you're playing well, they can take a drive 2 hours down from Maine or New Hampshire, or wherever you are in Boston, to come watch in New York or wherever you're at in that weekend. So I just thought, for me, finding the right situation and the right path, because everyone's path is going to be different. Like, my path is going to be different than a Matty Cass who went to NTDP, and Evan Barrett who went to NTDP, Penn State, Ohio State, Quinnipiac, like whatever. Like, I knew my path was going to be a little bit later than everybody else's. I just needed my time to develop. Like, just because there's 2 more years left of, before you get a chance to go to college, like, doesn't mean that nothing can happen in the flash of a button. Because you could play in the null and you could have, a really good points. You could be playing well, and then you could be like, hey, you get a call one morning and you're going to Chicago, or you're going to Tri-City or Lincoln or even Omaha or any team in the USHL, and go and play the rest of the year. And then when you're playing in the USHL, you get a lot more looks because there's every college team looking in that league to find, young talent and guys that could go in and play and fill roles and stuff. And it works out. Like, I mean, guys in the NOL now, because the NOL is ginormous now. You have the South, you have the Midwest now. They're trying to do all the different things, which is, I think, is unbelievable, because the more teams that they have, the quality sometimes might not be there, but if the top end quality is there, you could still have a chance to go. Like, I mean, our team was in the NCDC. We started out hot because we didn't lose a game, but I mean, if, we were down that much and, we were still putting up points, like it still wouldn't have mattered. Like I don't think people should focus on, okay, this team was, and I don't even think that year that they made the playoffs either. The year while I was playing U18 NCDC, I don't think Islanders even make the playoffs. So they were in a whole rebuilding stage. So this was kind of like the faucet of how I would know and be like, listen, I don't even know if I'm going to get a sniff here. Like I could go into a rebuild with them and we could be terrible and not even make the playoffs, and then I got to go back there next year. But you never think of like, oh, it could be a bad year, or it could be anything. Like I was pumped to go in there. Like they had a nice facility, um, nice rink. Like they had, and the PAL Islander organization was very known. Like a lot of those teams at the time, and like you had South Shore, you had BJB, you had the Cyclones, like you had the Monarchs and stuff, which all were at the time really great youth organizations growing up. And now that they kind of brought junior hockey to the East Coast, it was kind of a good fit and it worked out. And I still think it was the best. It was one of the best hockey career choices I've ever made.
Yeah, man. But I think that's just that's the big part is that you went to a place where you felt you were gonna have the best situation, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that
I
that
mean, with certain
you weren't
things like
chasing.
that, yeah, you're not chasing anything and you're not, you could say, oh yeah, I'm taking a shot, but in anything you're going to be taking a shot. Like I could have went there and he could have said he loved me and all this stuff. And then I go there and I play like crap the first 3 games and then I don't see the lineup for another 10 days.
Yeah. No, listen, you got to bet on yourself, right? That's one of the biggest parts. You either believe in your abilities and you go out there and you do your thing, or it's going to be a tough time with the rest of it. But Mike, so come back to so what was your mindset? Because you kind of mentioned it in there, but what was the biggest pieces that you were kind of taking out of? All right, I'm going from AAA to NCDC to USHL, back to NCDC, back to USHL. So I know you kind of said this is a new opportunity, that kind of thing, but come on, man. What was that? There's no way it was just all positive right there. 'Cause I'm gonna tell you right now, that's tough, man. That's because forget about what it means for your career. You're switching from like one place of living to another place of living. Your routine's off, the whole thing. Like, how did you find a balance in your routine?
So I think I kind of found a balance in just trying to find the positives in every little thing that I could. I mean, I know in certain situations, like when I got sent down, like I was like, shit, like people are gonna think that I can't hack it and can't play. And I just proved to everybody that was right about me that like that said that I couldn't play and I was too small and stuff and I won't play at the higher levels and stuff and the USHL and Division 1 so out of my reach. Like I just proved all of them right. Like, and I mean,
Yeah,
going back to the NCDC, like I kind of went back in there with like, okay, I can get back there, know what I have to do, and
right.
I needed to do it. Like I needed to put down and go back to work and stuff. And I think the summer before, because that was the first before that year, that was the first summer with you that I had fully. And I remember I'll never forget the Eastern game that I was at and saw the training on everyone's Eastern jacket and I saw, Ambrose and, Frankenfield who I was playing with at the time were working out with you and stuff. And
I'm only
um
gonna stop because Scott McKay would kill me if I didn't fix you on. It was Cherokee, not Eastern. He would get very upset, Scott McKay. So
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I
So so yeah, that and then I remember coming up to you after that game. You gave me a card and I was like, listen, I'm serious as shit to come train. Because I really didn't have a gym at that point because Endeavor was kind of shut down and I was kind of wasn't really working out to where okay, I could be like, okay, yeah, I know exactly like I'm in the best shape. I can go this, I can do that. And I never really had like a performance-based workout plan. Like I was kind of just working out at Endeavor towards the end of it just to go in and work out, but there like wasn't really anything like one-on-one and it wasn't, what we ended up doing. And you gave me the rundown of what would happen and gave me a card and I think I was in there the Monday after or
dude,
Friday
I
or
was so
something.
surprised when you. I did not expect you to show up that quick. I honestly, it's funny. I was talking to Scott, and he's like, he's not coming. I'm like, I don't know, man. Mikey's coming. And
Yeah.
then look at this. Because I'm going to tell you the time with you, Mare, and then Ant was just, dude, I, you guys were just so much fun. Like
That
the
was
amount of
awesome.
smack talk, dude, the amount of smack talk back and forth was just nonstop. Was
Well, I
just
just had to sit
nonstop.
there and
Like,
listen to the two of them bitch at each other, and then I would just hop in and giving the little jabs here and there because I was the little guy, so just needed to.
wait, little jabs, dude. There was nonstop the whole time. It was just the shit talking. There was nothing but shit talking going on for the whole session.
I mean, yeah.
Um,
What else do you want me to do? Let them take the shit. Can't take
but listen,
that.
it was. Here's the thing. It was entertaining for me because I'm just stepping back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
uh,
not even getting in the middle of this. You're just letting it kind of hang and just let it
listen,
level
it
out.
was too entertaining. But here's the thing. Also, you guys, yeah, there was a lot of smack talk. There was a lot of that, but it was all out of love. And I think that's the best part, right? Is that when you're out, you're working hard and you're trying to get better, but you're around people who you can be real with. You could poke at.
Yeah,
You could do all
yeah.
that. And at the same time, you know that there's no ill will. And I think that was
I
the
know.
fun part. Like,
I know you would be up my ass all the time about working and stuff, and it was always good. Like, I mean, I remember after my first year of juniors, we would, Max and I would bring our sticks in and stuff, and we would stick handle with a golf ball, like right in the legit walkway of TA.
like
Like when we first had the original spot, like we would legit stick handle in the walkway with a golf ball in between lacrosse balls and stretching balls that people need, and we did not care anything who was walking in. We were like, listen, we're stick handling for 20 minutes after workout, and that's gonna be the end of it. But no, I mean, now that from the summer we have had now, like all the summers leading up now, I don't think for me personally, like I know that I wouldn't be the same the person player like to get to the point where I am and to be confident in my game to the point without, you guys and everything you've done for me the past few summers. So
appreciate it, bro. No, but I'm gonna tell you, it's like COVID summer. Being outside on that blacktop in the
the
straight
worst.
heat in the hoodies.
Yeah, you wouldn't
Mikey,
even
you
let us
wear
take.
a hoodie right now. You're all hoodie up right now.
Yeah, but I didn't start wearing a hoodie till last summer, and you know that for a fact because you would always yell at me, and I was like, I'm not wearing it. I'll run as many 300s or assault bikes as you want. I am not wearing it. And I mean, I remember we were outside, flipping tires, we were running, like, like it didn't matter we were outside, but it was fun.
Listen, I got all the videos, man. I'm gonna go. No, you know what? There's a couple videos of you guys with your shirts off.
Yeah, we were doing, yeah, we
Yeah.
had Peters, me, Martino, we had Sambuco, we had Max. We had some guys there that we were all tarps off.
Listen, man. It was
You weren't
that
happy,
was
you
honestly.
weren't happy about it, but it was too hot out of your hand. It was too hot out of your control.
Well, remember, I'd be wearing my hoodie from 8 a.m. to like 5 p.m. straight through in 102 heat while you guys had to deal with it for 45 minutes. So I don't want to hear about how hot it was or whatever.
Yeah, but we
Because
were
me,
we were
Rob,
working out though. You were standing there yelling at us.
bro, listen, you want to stay on a blacktop for 12 hours? You let me know how that feels.
That was your choice, not mine.
No, bro, I was trying to make sure you boys still had me, Darren, and Rob had we're trying to give you guys the best experience possible since we couldn't
Yeah,
be
right.
inside. So that was just, but um, besides that, yeah. So let's jump a little bit. So, um, no, Mike, I think that's one of the big things for you, man. That you know, you created a Mikey bubble, I like to call it,
Yeah.
where nobody gets in your head. No one has real estate in your head. Um, where'd you get that, bro?
Um, I think like growing up, I was a little softer. I kind of thought about like, what everyone thought of me, how people, if they were nice to me, mean to me, like why they would be mean to me. Like I just thought I was too sensitive. And then I kind of, started to get a little thicker skin when I started to get like 18, 19, and then kind of had a conversation with, an agent that wanted to kind of represent me. And he asked me what my goals and aspirations were. And I told him, like, listen, I want to play, junior hockey somewhere. I want to get a Division 1 scholarship and I want to play in the NHL. And he told me, looked me in my eyes and told me that, you know, uh, Division 1's up here, juniors is here, Division 3's here, and you're down here. And I looked at him and I said, well, I'm thinking in my head, why would this guy say this to me if I'm all the way down here and Division 3 if I'm not even a Division 3 level athlete at the time? Like I was 18 years old about my last year U18s, and I have an agent that wants to represent me, tell me that Division 3 is up here and I am all the way down here. And that I would have to make a gigantic leap if I even want to get to Division 3 or juniors or whatever and anything. And I'm like, why do you want to represent me if
Yeah.
you think that low of me already before? And I mean, like it was just silly. Like, and then after that, I was kind of like, you know what, kind of just forget about what everybody thinks of me. Like, I know what I have to give. I know what everything that I've been through throughout my entire hockey career, and I still love the game as much as I did at, 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 till 24 right now. And I still love the game, getting up for it every day. Yeah, do some days suck going to the rink? Yeah, absolutely. But I still wouldn't trade the love of the game that I have for anything. And I mean, the thick skin kind of just is kind of just knowing yourself and knowing what you value and know you how you've went through the whole process and how you've stuck by the process. Like our coach, now talks about how we play is the process. And some games, we're gonna stick to the process and it's sometimes it's not gonna work out. But the process will reward you if you stick to it long enough. So like we had a few games this year where we lost like four in a row or something, and but we weren't playing bad. It was just we were sticking to the process, but the process wasn't giving us out. So now we're sticking to the process the same as we were when we were losing, and now the process is starting to repay us. We went from all the way to the 7 seed, which we were underachieving in the year. Now we managed all the way up to sweep the last week against Bowling Green at home, and now we're the 5 seed. Yeah, you were there. You were there. I'll give you that. Shout out to you and Rob for coming to that. Darren's blowing up my phone, by the way, thinking he's coming. And he's like, I can't come to round one, but I'll come to round two, wherever it is. I would love to see this guy live up to his word and come. I would leave that guy 100 tickets if that guy ever comes. Like this is what he texted me the other day. This is what Darren texted me the other day. It's crazy. Monday. This was Monday before we left. He goes, when would playoffs be for you guys and where? I said this weekend and we're in Minnesota State. He goes, first round. I was like, yeah. He goes, bet. I said, you coming. He goes, this round I won't be able to because I admitted to seeing the 09s, but second round, hell yeah, I'm there. I'm there for sure. Just through the first next weekend, so I didn't plan it right. I was like, okay. He's like, you better after we win this weekend, you better be there. He goes, hell yeah. He's like, where's second round? And I said, no idea yet. Like once, the seeds figure out and stuff after we get by this weekend, he goes, I'm there no matter what. And I said, you better be. So I'm putting Barrett on this call and I am that's in writing. Like that's him texting me. So he does not have a way out of this thing now. So I'm holding Darren up to
Is it?
that. But yeah, like we talk about the process a lot, and he's a big firm believer of if you do things right, the process will reward you. And the process rewarded us from getting a better seed instead of, being down and not having a chance. Because if anything happens in the first two seeds above us or anything like that, because we're playing four. So essentially if we win, we go to four. Then if the other two seeds in front of us lose, we get home ice again. And home ice
Yeah.
last year, because the first year was COVID, so the whole thing was played in Mankato. Second year, we had to go on the road to Mankato because we were five, I think, or six or something like that again. And then last year, we were, I think, we needed to win the last weekend or something, or sweep the last weekend to have the chance to get home ice. And we did. And we played Bemidji for the first time in playoffs that I could play home ice playoffs because we were away the first 2 years, and it was unbelievable what home ice can do for a school in
Yeah.
playoffs and what everything to do because we swept them 2-0 and we moved on. And then we moved on and we beat Tech even though we were on the road, and then we had to go to Mankato and play the number one team. And we lose in the championship, but still like the process rewards you in certain ways. And I mean, I think
Yeah.
the throughout the time the process always rewarded me. I mean, I think I'm grateful for everything that I have achieved and accomplished and, been grateful for all the opportunities that I have. But I think just in sticking to the process, I think it helped me just kind of create that bubble of be like, okay, listen, like I've been through so much already. You have no idea what has happened. You have no idea what I had to do to even get to this point. There's no one getting in this head anymore. And that was the end of it.
Yeah. No, man, I think that's one of the most impressive things. Because listen, man, you're talented. There's so many things around you but I think the biggest piece that you just never allowed anyone to, or at least since I've known you, I've not seen anybody have any real estate in the Mikey Colella brain. So,
Nobody has that anymore.
well, yo, and then so here's the thing: we're coming up. You and I could do this for hours. So, a couple things I want to jump on. Um, top three memories from youth hockey, juniors, and now college. Give me one of each.
Top three memories
First thing comes.
from my youth career, I'd probably say winning Can-Am.
Okay,
Can-Am was probably one of my favorites.
Jags.
What?
The Jags.
No, as far as youth, it was like when I was maybe 8, 9, 10, maybe. It was with
Lake
Carson and
Placid to me.
yeah,
Lake
yeah,
Placid.
yeah. Lake Placid. I always called it Can-Am. And then yeah, I mean that game was fun. We ended up going to overtime in that game and
The 1980 rink.
what?
1980 rink.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. We ended up going to overtime and I had 2 goals and an assist, and I fed Carson for the game winner in overtime, which was, a little fun memory and stuff. And I needed to get a picture for senior night. And I had Mr. Beckett, who was a photographer and a dad on our team all the time, and he'd always take pictures of us. And he sent me one the other day, and it was me and Carson. We scored a goal and we were celebrating together as, we were like probably like 8, 9 years old. And I sent it to him. I was like, can you believe this? I'd probably say that. I'd probably say playing in the Pee Wee Quebec tournament. Was number 2 for my young ones. We were really good. I mean, we had, our talent on that team was just look, you would have thought we were the actual Flyers playing with some of the kids' last names we had on the team. Like we were
Right.
actually one of my teammates was talking to me about dinner tonight and stuff, and we were just talking about the Quebec tournament. I was telling him all the guys we had because we had, Primo, Leclaire, Laviolette, Briere, Peter White, and then you had Tiemann, Hatcher. Like we had so many Flyers guys, sons on the team that we looked like the Flyers. Um,
Right.
and then I'd probably say if I had to think for my youth career, probably say one of my favorite memories is that U16 um that Comcast year, that first year I came back. I think that's probably
Mm,
going to be one of my greatest memories of my youth career was being able to do that. And this is all ice without roller because I'd have so many, different other types of roller memories and stuff that I have. But then say for juniors, definitely scoring the first my first game in the overtime in the USHL. Um, I'd probably say in junior, um, I would say scoring a hat trick in the showcase. I had a really good weekend that weekend. Definitely one of my favorite ones. And then I would say probably the last home game I played in Trail, before, the regular season and stuff. That game I thought was
that was COVID year, right?
yeah, that was COVID year. So it was the last real home game we saw before playoffs and stuff. And that game was awesome because they kind of, did a little something for the overagers and gave us some pictures and stuff and kind of celebrated us a bit after the game. And that was pretty cool. I have to say for college, um, my all-time favorite has to be the Boston University game. My first collegiate hat trick, and a really good weekend. Sorry, Boosh, had to send you home like that. Had to throw that in there. Um, give him a little jab. Um,
Yeah.
I'd probably say my freshman year, upsetting Minnesota State at the time. They were like top 5 in the country. Like their team was just it wasn't even fair, and we beat them in the semifinals. That was a good one. And then I'd probably say, oh, it's got to be this year shootout against Tech. That's
Right.
got to be up there now. I mean, to have that moment in my last year against probably one of the biggest rivals in college hockey between us and Tech, there's just
Yeah.
no feeling, especially at their barn too, and being able to hear
Yeah.
our fans and their fans completely quiet, and we just swept them in their own barn. Like
Yeah.
it was one of the greatest feelings I've ever felt in my hockey career.
Yeah. No, that's special. All right, and then one last one from the off ice piece. Top three favorite TA memories across the years.
Um, I mean, I'd have to say Drake coming this summer. I mean, that was, I mean, that's my guy. Like that's my guy. He's my roommate on the road now. And he came back for a fifth year. To be with me and to have the opportunity to play with me again. And I think from freshman year, we've always had a great chemistry from getting the chance for me being a freshman and to play with Joe and stuff, and which you met over charity and stuff. Which I'd probably say that, us three together, which my freshman year wouldn't have been, it was a perfect match. I mean, and then him being able to come back, that meant a lot to me. Because he didn't have to come back. He could have signed and said, okay, I'm done. But after we lost in the championship, he was like, no, I'm coming back and wanted to play with me again and stuff, which was really good. And then, huh, I mean, there's there's so many of off ice stuff. I mean, I gotta think when like we're just even the one day we were at the gym and stuff, and it was like me, PJ, might have been like Carson stuff, and we're talking about like Roz cat time and how Roz standard time, the Roz standard time when we created that day, the Roz standard time, that's a good one. We had a lot of fun with that. I mean, just our group, like from when I was at TA to start, and now when now we're at Holiday, like our group is like me, Andrew, Bose, PJ. You have DeSantis, you have Carson, you add Wilkes into it now. We added Dre for the summer. Hopefully he comes back for a second when I'm trying to get him to do it. Um, so like I mean, for all of us, like I mean, I'd probably say when you made us do the what was it, the 6 minute mile on the bike, and we were all pissed. Like, I mean, we were pissed, and everyone's bitching, like, what do we need the 6 minute mile test for, key, and all this stuff. And oh, that was a good day. That was fun.
No, man, I'm gonna don't want to throw you on the bus a little bit here, but how about last summer with the medicine ball, Mikey? We're not going to talk about that. We don't have to get into that little where the younger guys beat you guys because you know it was Mikey's standard time.
Yeah, yeah, it was Mikey Standard time, that one. Yeah, yeah, it was. That for a fact.
No,
The
man.
bag was a little big.
What's that?
Thought the bag's a little bit big. It's not like
Oh
carrying a
man,
suitcase.
no, man. And then you got one more? Any other ones? Last one?
Um, huh. I mean, I'd have to say when we always piss Meatball off in the weight, or no, actually when no 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 this is a good one. Um, when we went to the Eastern to run the not the track, we went to the field the one day, and Peters
Yeah.
got Ant to show up, and we worked out, and it was actually terrible. Like I was dying, and I'm like, I don't know how Ant's gonna get through this because this guy hasn't worked out in forever. And he comes back and he's like throwing up, and Peters goes over and sniffs the trash can and goes, is that strawberry daiquiris? That has to be the funniest. That has to be one of the funniest all time comments from Peters, and then the story with Ant. Like, I mean, that has to be one of, even though you weren't happy about it, which it was fine because he was done playing, coming for a workout. Um, that one's got to be up there. That one's fun. That's funny. That's a good one.
No, man. It was yeah. That I'm trying to remember if that was because that was Ant's that would have been Ant's second year, and he wasn't sure if he was playing yet, and so
He
he
went
took
to
a little bit of
Boston.
a hiatus.
Yeah, he went to Boston with Niter, Garazzo, and Fioli. Yeah, 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 they were
And
all
then
living together.
he finished out the season because he was hurt. There was a couple of things, and then he ended up. And then when we started training again that summer, he wasn't sure if
Yeah,
he was going to do it yet. And yeah, he came back. He had a it was a rough day for Ant, but we
yeah, it
won't
was.
yeah.
Yeah, right. That was funny. That was good.
Yeah. No, but Mikey, listen, man, thanks so much for jumping on, bro. It's listen, it's I can't wait to get you back, but hopefully you're back properly, and um we're gonna let Darren know a little bit because
Yeah, you
we,
better.
that's right.
I,
We got to
I
fix
mean,
that.
now I'm not gonna say anything because you guys already came out. But if you did want to go with Darren again, like I know the guys wouldn't hate it. And like I'm not gonna say if it's if it's at home, you might have to come out. You know, might have to come see what's been going on. But for now, I mean, I think uh I think you might have
You,
to come out with Darren if he does come out.
yeah,
It's playoffs,
you
key.
broke up there a little bit.
You
I
might
know
have to come out
you
for
broke up.
playoffs if it happens. If Darren ends up coming out, I
It
think
may
you
just have
and
to be.
Rob might have to make another trip.
We'll see. We'll see. It's a little nuts, but listen, we might have to do it. We might have to do it.
Might have
We'll
to.
talk about it. We'll discuss. I have your
Uh,
people call my people. My people call your people. We'll put something together.
oh, you don't want my people calling you because they will force you to go.
You're right.
And you know
You
exactly
got
who
the
my
show.
people, who
Yeah,
I
I
was,
do. I do. I
you know
listen.
exactly who I was sending to come talk to you.
Dangerous, dangerous.
I want to have Mama come talk to you about coming again.
Oh, she's the best. But Mikey, love you, brother. You're the
Love you.
best. Good luck. Light it up. All right. Send all the best to the boys.
I will.
Um, listen, man, I'm expecting greatness this weekend. All right. I'm
All right.
expecting greatness.
All right. You'll get
All
it.
right. You'll get it. All right, bro. Be good. I'll see you. I'll talk to you at the throughout the weekend.